Good evening. Good evening. It is a different world with creatives on campus. My name is Brittany T, and we are back every Friday. We are here talking with just some emerging, pioneering, brilliant creatives in the tri-state as well as in the DMV area. Last month, we just had a month-long series of different individuals from Camden as a part of our Camden, our series with leaders of a beautiful struggle. I'm fumbling over my words so far today, but Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle was our partner for the month of September. It was a great series where we got to talk to different students from the Camden City area. We talked to individuals from Rutgers University in Camden. We talked to some individuals who are from Wiley College, HBCU. We talked to just a range of individuals who shared with us about what they were up to creatively as well as educationally. So I'm excited tonight to continue in that same vein, now moving over to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, to be able to continue the conversation with some of the brilliant minds and creatives from Philadelphia. And so before we introduce tonight's guest and get into the conversation, I do want to just take a moment to invite you to share this stream out. Go ahead and share it out on your pages if you want to host a watch party. If you want to just tag somebody in the comments, a student, someone who you think needs to be tuned in and a part of tonight's conversation, I promise you it's going to be good. And so I'm going to take a moment to do that. I like to share it out to my own pages, make sure that I invite a few people to tune in and to be a part of the conversation. I also want to take a moment while I'm doing that to just briefly make a few announcements. This has been such an eventful fall semester. Creatives on campus, we think of things in terms of semesters, and it has just been wild. We all are in school at a very unusual time. A time where there's a lot of adapting that has to take place, and it's just everyone's being stretched. I'll say it that way. Everyone's being stretched in many ways, and so I want to just update you that I mentioned a few weeks back that I was starting back in my own educational program at Drexel University, and want to keep you posted. I've been very transparent about my journey as a student and some of the challenges that I've had. And I just wanted to update you that so far, so good. I have a cohort of just colleagues who are like brilliant in so many ways. Just a range of talent and people from different backgrounds. And I have a Black male professor this semester, which has not been a thing ever in the 10 plus years that I've been a student in college. And so it's a good semester so far for that reason alone. Representation matters, and it feels really good to just be represented in that way. So I wanted to just share that because that's a huge win for me. So again, really quick, we're going to get started in just a moment, but I'm going to just ask you one more time to go ahead and share out tonight's stream on your page. Go ahead and reshare it and let someone know that we are live. If you're new to the podcast, It's a Different World with Creatives on Campus is a podcast where we explore all things creatives, community, and campus culture. We are very much interested in highlighting college students, college graduates, as well as those who may not be enrolled any longer in higher education and have an experience, narrative in which they are willing to share and reflect upon with us and our audience. And these individuals typically are ones who identify as creatives, they're typically artists, they're typically entrepreneurial, they typically have just a range in terms of their background and what they're up to. And tonight's guest is, I think, a great example of when you talk about talent, when you talk about brilliance, when you talk about educated, and just really the intersection of these things working together and creating something very, very magical. They are an absolutely just great example of that. And so I want to read a little bit of their bio and just go ahead and bring them on. I want to start by telling you that they are twin sisters, Eli and Lou Bevins. They are the founders of Eli Lou Entertainment, raised by their grandparents in West Philadelphia. The sisters began writing stories and poetry in elementary school and first discovered the art of screenwriting at Overbrook High School. While attending ECSU for a BS in computer science and as graduate students at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana for STEM, Eli and Lou continued their filmmaking aspirations, winning multiple film awards. Since, Eli and Lou have written, directed, and produced numerous films and stage plays. Through film and spoken word, Eli and Lou continue to convey thought-provoking messages that impact lives, enlighten, and change minds. Currently, Eli and Lou are hosts and executive producers of the new virtual talent show, I Got the Mic, Poetic Experience, along with partners and Waco Theater Center's co-artistic directors, veteran actor Richard Lawson and the notable Miss Tina Knowles Lawson. I Got the Mic Poetic Experience is presented by Waco Theater Center in association with Eli Lou Entertainment and Richard Lawson Studios. The sisters company also has had the pleasure of streaming and working as producers on the Waco Celebration 2020, presented by Shea Moisture, which showcased various celebrities such as Beyonce, Kerry Washington, Samuel Jackson, and so much more. And so y'all just heard it. They are up to so many great things. I have a personal experience of engaging with them and just discovering all of the great things that they're up to. I'll wait till I bring them on to talk about that. But right now, I know they can't hear you applause wise, but whatever you can do, if you want to drop some emojis, if you want to drop some hearts, whatever you want to do to make them feel welcomed, I want to bring Eli and Lou Bevins into this conversation.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
It's good to see you. You're doing great. Just busy.
Okay.
Busy too.
Tell me who is Eli.
Well, I'm Eli.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at her name and I was like, usually I think I'm on the right side. No, make sure I'm on the wrong side. But yeah, I'm Lou Eli. So.
Okay. Okay. It's horrible. I feel like I should be able to kind of make that distinguish by now.
It's been a minute. You gotta. It's been a minute.
So you both have been up to quite a bit since I've last been in touch with you. Tell us, what have you, I know I just read your bio and shared, but what have you all been up to?
Yes. It's been a lot since the pandemic hit. I think it changed the film entertainment industry completely. We're working virtually a lot, but in the middle of the storm, there's a lot of blessings that are still taking place, right? And we're able to start, working with teams in Los Angeles. We have team members in Atlanta. And obviously here in Philadelphia. And so our teams are much smaller when we're on set. So that's a challenge. But we've been working on numerous projects. Our Sound Mind spoken word cinematic mixtape was supposed to drop last April. We were going to have a premiere for 700 guests and a little cocktail session to celebrate the 120 plus actors who participated in our 12 short film series. And that all got canceled. The same week we sold tickets, we canceled. We're now preparing to release that in November on our birthday, November 8th. So we've been kind of working on that, and then also working on the I Got the Mic poetic experience, and it's been an amazing experience working with Waco Theater Center in Los Angeles, and partnering with them. We've also been working with Waco for since the beginning of the start of Waco. And it's just been an interesting process, just working, virtually with so many different film teams. We're looking for talent around the world. We had talent on the first episode from Ghana, from Brazil, London, just all over the world. So although it's such a negative situation that happened, there are some good things coming out of the pandemic where we're coming up with more creative ideas of what we didn't have prior. And so, and then working on the Waco celebration that aired a couple of weeks ago on YouTube Live. So,
Yeah, and I know I just jumped the gun and was like, what are you working on? As if the rest of the people watching all know who you are. So I apologize. I'm being very selfish right now and just kind of like, what are you guys up to? But let's just rewind a little bit. Maybe Lou, speak to, I read a lot about what you all have done. How did you, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Tell us in your own words a little bit about, who you are and what you're up to.
Right. So, we're co-founders of IAWD Entertainment, as you read, and we're a spoken word duo. So a lot of what we do on the creative realm is just anything artistic. We're creatives. We're, some people know us in different areas. So you might meet us on the poetry side or the film side, or the STEM side, or tech, or websites, or anything outside of things that just don't mix. We are really, we're really into collaborating on and combining different arts and styles and forms, whether it's theater with film or film with tech. So that's sort of the space that we operate in. As you read, our background is primarily tech, but our heart has always been in the arts. So we're pretty much a blend of all those things, and just kind of tapping into everything that we haven't done in the past, or just blending a bunch of arts. So depending on where you meet us at, we'll have a different answer to what is it that you do.
Yeah. And I think for me, that's one of the reasons I really wanted you to come on and to share, because this conversation series is really dedicated to those creatives who are possibly in those tech science backgrounds or whatever they're studying, but there's also this creative, these tangible, whether it's film, whether it's music, these artistic interests. And so I want to ask you, either one of you, maybe both of you, how do you make sense of those intersections and not become flustered by all of the ideas? And, at that point of intersection, a lot happens for me sometimes. How do you stay grounded and organized and able to execute on your ideas?
I think first is identifying what it is that you want to do. A lot of times, especially when you're kind of pushed towards the STEM field, you think that you don't have a space in the creative realm, and it's completely wrong. It's just a matter of learning how to manage the two, or blending the two, and making things that typically don't blend work for yourself. The cool thing about that, though, is that that's how new ideas are innovated. If you take two things and you put them together, and no one has done that before, then you use it to your advantage in that way. But right. It's always been something where we had to tell ourselves we could do both. People want you to choose usually, or you can't do this. You can't be here and then do this at the same time. But just staying focused and knowing what you want out of the situation, I think it's one of the things that keeps you on the path. We went and got our bachelor's and then our master's degree. And if you're artistic and that still has a calling to your name, you're going to find your way back to it anyway. Right. I think Lou took everything I was going to say. But to add to that, I think we found a great blend of using what our tech background that's actually helping us in film. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into film other than just the creative part, which is the behind the scenes piece of administration, planning, scheduling, all of those things that you went to college and grad school for, you just kind of throw in the bag thinking you don't need it. But I think, honestly, that's the part that a lot of people get stuck at. A lot of us know how to be creative, but understanding the business side of it, the organization part of it, which goes towards your reputation when people join your project. So we've been taking our background for, again, our in tech and, our website, our marketing materials, all of those things we were able to do ourselves. Our film covers, our posters. So it kind of, works hand in hand. I never really saw a separation of the two. I felt like everybody else who would tell me, only stick to one or the other didn't see it the way we did. But I always saw that, there's a blend and you can blend it. That's part of being solution driven and creative.
Yeah, we got really good at, sometimes when you're in school, you get a class or you get an assignment and you're like, I'm never going to use this again.
Yeah.
So you think. The crazy thing is that it's entire, especially our master's degree, where we were looking at information architecture, and this was all for mobile apps and design and system analysis and all these different things that were so tech driven and database design and all these things, and bachelor's of computer science. But all of those things that we use in terms of the structural design of those things, we actually do use in our filmmaking, in planning and diagrams, strategies, and things like that are all into play when we do filmmaking. So it's definitely a way to blend it all.
Yeah, I love what both of you have shared, and what I'm hearing is just, it's like there's an intention, right, with using what you've done in academia, what you studied. There's like that intention of, okay, how can I make this work now for what I'm doing creatively, and seeing how it cross applies in many instances.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. So you mentioned the cinematic film, the soundtrack that you have coming out in November. I want to talk about that because I do remember you all promoting it, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
So tell us what can people expect as that is approaching, and just how people could potentially even get engaged in being a part.
Yes. So I'm trying to think of where to start. So Sound Mind Cinematic Spoken Word Mixtape. We are spoken word artists, but we're also filmmakers, right? So we didn't want to do your standard, just stand in front of a video and spit spoken word. We were like, what's a creative way to do this that, engages the audience, and also there's a little bit of hip hop rap mixed with it. So a lot of our pieces can be written as poems and we turn them into rap, or raps and turn into poems. So, we're able to perform either way. So that's the kind of cool part. And so there's 12 films. They're all different. They've been all shot in different locations. And so essentially it's a thought-provoking project. We tend to write when there's, a lot of stuff going on in society. And so rather than getting angry about it, we're happy people. So we just kind of put it all into our words. And so we started this project at the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018. So it's been a 2-year journey shooting 12 films. Again, over 120 individuals, talent, crew that worked on this project. And we also wanted to do something that started with just creativity, right? Not a bunch of expensive equipment, but even when we had the opportunity to upgrade, we said, no, we're having fun doing it this way, because in the end, it's going to help other people see, regardless of your situation, you can always be creative. Instead of buying real metal buckets, we bought buckets from the dollar store and painted them gold, metallic gold, and you can't even tell. So it's those small things that, we got tired of people saying, oh, filmmaking is expensive, it's hard to do. But there's so many ways around that. So Sound Mind, we're delivering that message. People can expect to see different type of genres. The music is all different. The spoken word is different. And it's the first time we're putting out a project that includes our spoken word. We've never, put out anything. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah,
but
so I mean, Eli hit all the points, but Sound Mind is just 12 short films that correlate with 12 spoken word tracks.
Right.
So you're gonna get some dance, you're gonna hear singing, you'll hear rap, you'll get acting, it's just a blend of the arts. And like Eli said, we have some timepieces that's in the 1930s.
Yes.
Inspired by Paul Robeson, and then we might jump to a bit of a thriller that takes place in a prison. Then we kind of jump into, a made-up fairy tale or folk tale that's in Africa. So we have
and we did it all right here in Philadelphia.
All in Philly. So.
Wow.
We never left. So yeah.
Wow. That is awesome. I mean, I think a lot of times for myself, I have so many ideas of things I want to do. And so when I see you both like constantly just going at it and putting, not even just putting out content, but putting out quality work, I I am always inspired. So I just want to just pause for the call to just thank y'all because y'all are very, very inspirational in everything that you're doing. And just that positivity behind it and that intention is just, again, really appreciated. So.
No, thank you. You're doing a lot yourself. I know from a creative to a creative, you're being modest here, but I know for all of us, it's always inspiring to see, each other win in doing good stuff and being creative, especially during a pandemic, when things were shut down. And being able to come out on the end is the other side of this is really important for our mental, as creatives, we can't sit down, you don't know how to sit down for so long, but it's forcing us to be creative in a different way.
And Brittany, just to throw the flowers back your way, I know that you never miss a beat either on social media, from the singing, the writing, the shows, the projects. So we commend you and tip our
I'm trying to get some singing lessons so I can more like you.
I appreciate y'all. We be trying out here. But speaking of winning, so I want to talk about the major wins of, the journey you all have been on and working with Waco Theater, and I hope I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Waco, okay. And just even the newest project that's emerged, the I Got the Mic, the poetic experience. Tell us what was the journey to being able to co-produce, be executive producers, and to be a part of this type of project, to curate this type of project. What's the journey been like?
So Waco stands for Where Arts Can Occur Theater Center, located in Los Angeles. Eli and I have actually been doing the graphic design and digital design and web maintenance for Waco and for Messina and Richard for about 6 years now.
Wow.
So when the pandemic hit, we had actually hosted a poetry show that Richard had tuned into. And after that, we decided to partner to do a show, and it kind of grew. Just so now it's no longer just poetry. We're looking for spoken word artists, but also we're putting a lens on literature. So if you're an actor, we're looking for monologues because that's written work. Rap and hip hop are lyrics, and we're looking for songwriters because we want to look. A lot of times people look at singers, so we want to look at the lyrics behind the song and things like that, whether it's book authors and things of that nature. But just getting there is interesting because, like Eli said earlier, when the pandemic happened, Eli Blue Entertainment was like, okay, everything we have is on hold. So to be able to have two projects, or at least that project, birthed out of a pandemic where, we have production crew in LA and we have one in here in Philly, and it's an amazing team. And without this team, it wouldn't be possible. All of the meetings, the things that we had to do to pull off a virtual show.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it's crazy.
You asked about the process. We're blessed enough to have this type of technology devices where we're able to meet a little bit more. We're able to share documents and share files as far as getting the footage from LA when they shoot, and vice versa. It's a whole process. You make mistakes, you learn from them, you figure out ways to make things better as far as how do we fix this. But we're very organized. And then again, having people who have great energy, it's no different from when we were filming before. It's just that we got to work a little different. The process as far as, more meetings because we're not physically together all the time. And then having talent that's virtual. But again, I spoke on this earlier about having talent from around the world. Never thought of doing a project like this. Before the pandemic, before we're going virtual, I'm not thinking about talent, worldwide. I'm not thinking it's even possible at that point. But, during this pandemic, it allowed us to see a bigger picture for us, Eli Lou Entertainment, a bigger picture for Waco Theater Center that does a lot of community work geared towards youth in disadvantaged neighborhoods in Los Angeles and whatnot. And the same thing with us here in Philly. We're able to work with our lovely team here in the city, and they've been a blessing to us. I think, they were God sent for us to be able to work on this project. We can't do it without them here or our LA team. So yeah, the process has been interesting, but I think it's fun.
We're learning every day. It's fun.
Yeah. Is and I know there's a deadline either approaching or did it end already?
It's today.
It's today. So people potentially still have until midnight or?
I think it's 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Okay. So we'll,
our talent producer is saying 11.
okay. We'll share the flyer when this is done, in case anyone who's watching, who might catch the replay, wants to just head over. And I'm actually thinking, do I got some lyrics or something I can throw in the hat? So we'll share that out. But that's exciting. I had the opportunity to tune into the first I Got the Mic experience, and I really enjoyed it. So great work.
Well, we got some more creative ideas, as we're involved and finding ways to just always grow the show.
Okay.
This next one is going to be just as good, but we do have some more different styles that we're throwing in there. So thank you for that, and thank you for tuning in.
For sure. So this podcast, as we've already stated, I like to leave some space to talk directly to college students, and just to keep them encouraged, inspired. I know a lot of times I'm confronted with the question or the contemplation from students: do I really need a degree? I'm a creative. I'm an artist. I don't really even want to do all this extra stuff. Can I just go straight for what I'm after? And so what would you say to that? What would you say to someone who's in that contemplation of, do I really need the degree?
Right. I would say it honestly depends on your goal, your end goal. And I would start there, looking at what it is that you want to do and what's going to take to get there. So as I touched on this earlier, a lot of people are creatives. But if you're thinking about doing it for yourself, that's one thing. But if you're thinking about, doing it in a certain industry, there's some things that you need to know to get there. Like business, for an example, a lot of people get taken care of just in the music industry if they're not understanding the business behind it, their contract, what they're signing, what does it take to get there? Same thing with film, being on budget. So you want to be a filmmaker, but there's a budget that goes along with that. You might get a $20 million project. How are you going to handle that as far as the back end? So even when you're not doing, like, I might not be the accountant for a film project, but I should have an understanding of what that is, because again, that's how people make mistakes or get taken advantage of, because they're not understanding the back end. So I would say, everybody has a different path. No pressure to do one or the other, but again, look at the end goal and see what it is you want to do. So for an example, again, our background, our bachelor's degree and master's degree is not in film. It's actually in tech. But our company is an entertainment company. So with that being said, no, I don't have a degree in it, but I was able to take a year and a half to study film. You still have to study whether you're in school or not. You still have to look at the background of how things work. You want to be a screenwriter, but you can't just throw anything together. The actors are depending on the script to be formatted a certain way in order for them to understand what they need to do on set. And also all 200 people on set depend on that same script to know what they need to do. So I think as a creative, it's good to have that, but just also looking at what else you need to grow to the next level.
I think it's also important when you're looking at school is what else you get out of it. It's not just your degree. Just from going to college, we have friends or associates that we went to school with who are pilots or doctors and lawyers. And these are all the type of people that I never would imagine I would know just from, coming up in where I'm coming from, or not seeing any people like that when, and I'm talking Black pilots, and people in aviation and doctors, and there's like all these different things. And those are your networks, I can't tell you how many times we traveled in different places and was able to reach out to somebody who was from school, or, recommendations and networks. We went to a restaurant in LA with some friends that we met in Indiana just to get there and find someone else in Indiana who was there. And we ended up, meeting up. So you'll consider your networks too, but just the overall college experience is definitely worth it. But I would say, just look at the full picture to see what you're going to get out on either side, whether you go or don't go. But Eli's point is that you always have to study it. You have to be a student of your craft, regardless if you go to school or not.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice, and it's worth mentioning for sure. We all have something creative to contribute, but having that, like you said, that knowledge piece is really, it's responsible, right? It's like, it makes you a responsible creative in a way, to not just, go in blindly and.
Right. I think one more thing I would add is, and because people say this all the time, whether it's film, singing, the entertainment industry is one of the biggest industry in terms of money. But people, I think when you're coming up into it, we just perform or we just create films. But find a way that you can take your passion, something you're passionate about, your creativity, and how can you turn it into something that's going to be sustainable? So that it's doing both, and that way, a lot of us, we deal with working multiple jobs just to get back to that passion, that thing we love. But again, it's thought process. It could be one and the same. You just got to figure out, how can you, be sustainable.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. Thank you both. I want to one last just shout out to them. I I had the opportunity to work with you both and receive like the brilliance, because that's what it is, that you both have to offer. Just you might not even know that every phase of what's happened since then, but just know that so much progress has happened with just the project that you all really helped to get energized in me. And so I try not to like give it away, because it's not ready to be released in anything, but it's so much progress that has happened since that time. And I just, I know that it's a part of it is because of that time that you both took. So,
wow. Thank you
for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just trying to support each other. That's basically what it was about. When we first met, saw you tearing down the stage, Lyrical Cafe. But and I
shout out to Lyrical Cafe, yes.
Yeah, so it's just about continuing to support each other as other creatives out here. No reason why we can't support each other. No reason why we can't tap into each other's projects, regardless of what we're doing on our end. Is that's what it's all about. Philly, we still got that. We can support each other.
Yes. It prompts one last question, which is with being so talented and being multifaceted in terms of tech and film and even the consulting that you both do so well, how do you one of the things I'm always challenged with is just because I can doesn't mean I should, right? Just because I know how to doesn't mean that I should just keep taking on all of these different projects, different gigs, even if money is attached. Sometimes I have to even kind of recalibrate in that way. So how do you decide what is going to take up your time at any given moment?
That's a great question. I always felt like once you master time management, you'll be able to do anything. And of course that comes after you make the decision to take on something. But time management, it sounds like it's just for your projects, but I think it's for life in general. Even if it sounds funny if you have to be like, hey, I have to schedule time with my family or schedule time with but even if you schedule your life down to a T, you're able to fit some things in. And we didn't always operate like that. There were times where, and see family in like a week because I'm so busy working. And then I'm like, oh man, I can't forget this part of life, or, I've been doing so much of this that I haven't done this other thing that I love so much. So I think time management is a really big part of that. And then your value and your self-health, like your health has to come into play. But there's been times, and I think we got pretty good at this in managing and selecting projects. There was a point in time where we took on everything and we were burnt out. And when you're burnt out or when you're sick and tired, you're really no good to yourself or the team that you're working on. So just deciding, and most of it is going to come from your heart anyway, of what interests you and which holds your interest. If you're working on something and it's not only time consuming, but your heart really isn't in it, you'll know that it's not really for you, or it was for you, but it's time for you to elevate or move on.
To just finish off her thought here. I would also add, yes, time management. Again, I keep everything on a calendar and that's organized. But I think we all do that. At some point, we try to take on so much because people always ask us, how are you working on all these different projects at one time? But if I'm being transparent, one of the things was finally letting go and allowing us to grow in the sense of having a small team. And honestly, Without them, we wouldn't be able to do half the stuff we're doing at this moment because it takes a team. When we first, in college, grad school, we would do a lot of things by ourselves. We would do we did like almost a full feature film or a short film, but a very long one, by ourselves. We did every single role. And I was like, why are we burning ourselves out like this? We're not able to do our best in class or with family if I'm tired or if I'm exhausted or if I'm stressed. So I think one of the things is, sometimes you got to make money. You got to be able to eat. You got to be able to feed yourself, your family. So that's one aspect. What do you need to do that? And then on the creative side, or can you blend it so that it is one and the same again? I think a lot of people get stuck at how can I blend my passion into making money at the same time. And honestly, we were there for a very long time. Honestly, probably half our 20s, we were in that space. But finally figuring it out, we were like, okay, the older you get, you start to realize working with a team works, being organized, picking up certain projects that we're passionate about, and again, just keeping organized. So definitely finding that team. It takes time to do that, but finding a team that's supportive, that believe in the same mission and goals. So now we're able to help each other out on different projects, their projects, our projects. Yeah. It's a whole family thing. So we call our team the film family, just across the different projects. So.
I love that. Thank you both. I have many more things I could ask you about. I'm like, I wish I had a twin. Wow. But,
I think they're working on a clone machine. They're working on that.
So it'll be 4 of us eventually.
Oh, wow. I love that. I love it. Thank you both for taking the time. I know y'all are both on the move, so we will definitely have to, have you back at some point in the future. But again, just for anyone who wants to stay in touch, how can we follow you and just keep up to date on what you're up to?
This Lou part.
I knew you were going to do it.
I messed this up every time. Go ahead, Lou. Take it away.
Right. So you can follow us. You can follow us on Eli Lou Entertainment on Facebook, at Eli Lou Twins on Instagram, Eli Lou Ent on Instagram, and our website, EliLouEnt.com. And that's ENT as in entertainment.
Okay.
Boom.
All right, and we'll post all of it again. It's currently on our pages as well. So anyone who missed it, we will make sure that everyone has it. But again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing, and keep up the great work with everything you're up to.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Have a good one.
All right. You too.
Wow. So I told you all that not just one great interview. I feel like we got a 2-for-1 tonight, just with Eli and Lou both being on and being a part tonight. Follow them and everything that they're up to with their film series. They have a new project, as they mentioned, coming out next month, Soundtrack, which is a film series that also ties in some music that they've done. So be sure to continue supporting them and all of the great work that they're up to. Before I go tonight, I want to just update you. I usually give my announcements in the beginning, but I saved them tonight for the end. And so I want to just give you a very exclusive announcement that we just dropped today, which is a brand new partnership called Lost in the City with Creatives on Campus. So as I mentioned, for the month of October, we are highlighting Creatives on Campus PHL. So we want you to follow the hashtag Creatives on Campus PHL. We're going into the city of Philadelphia, and we are highlighting, working with, partnering with, exchanging value with different creatives in the city of Philly. And Lost in the City with Creatives on Campus is going to serve as our campus. So we'll share more about that. I know that's like, what does that mean? That's all I can tell you for now. We'll continue to share more details, but just know that we have a lot of really, really great experiences coming up as a partnership with an amazing space in Philadelphia called Lost in the City. A beautiful space. I can't wait to show you more, share more. But for now, I just want to thank you for tuning in. It is truly a different world with Creatives on Campus. And I hope that you'll be here again next Friday, same time. Have a great weekend.